Morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Three at the Back podcast, unlocking FPL success with stats, data, and expert analysis. I'm your host, Darren, and as always, I am joined by my good buddies, Scott, aka FPL Heavy Metal on X, and Paul. Boys, how are you doing?
Fantastic. You?
I'm good, man. I'm well rested after my excursions to Bristol last week.
Yeah, you not been working
Yeah,
this week?
I mean, yes, but it's.
He's recovered.
You must have been working overtime in Bristol then, eh?
That's
I mean, some might say.
Mhm.
How you doing, Paolo?
Yeah, good mate. I'm just I'm eager for the season to kick off because I'm getting hallucinations of reading the transfer news every day. So I just kind of want the season, so I've got something else to preoccupy my brain with, to be honest.
I know. I do feel sorry for you, Premier League folks, sometimes with the EFL season already kicked off now. So as a Reading fan, and again, this going out Monday at 7, the first game is already in the books.
And you've already lost.
Probably, yes. I mean,
Let's be positive.
let's not sugarcoat it. It's a transitional season, as it has been for the last 13 years.
Sure.
So we just work with it. This week we are discussing a little bit of transfer news, some Arsenal positivity. Paul, I'm sure you'll be loving to get involved in that real quick. And we are looking mostly at the budget enablers for this week. So those midfielders that are at 5.5, 6, and 6.5 million. So the ones that we believe are, I mean, let's call them what they are. They're hidden gems, right? They're not the players that most people would consider. They are more often than not, they're at the teams that tend to struggle at the bottom end of the table. But in terms of individual performances and points for your team, we think that they offer a good amount of value. And also, it might mean that you can get Salah and Haaland into your team at the same time.
This will come a dream.
We can dream, yeah. We've got yet another presentation to get you through. Some more slides that Paul was very kindly put together for us. So I will bring that up on the screen for us now. And Paul, I'll let you have the floor to wax lyrical about a certain new boy on the Arsenal books.
Yeah, buzzing, to be honest. I think £9 million is probably the right price point for him.
If only you had paid £9 million for him.
Yeah, he's in the right price bracket, I think. Obviously, he's there with Ollie Watkins. Obviously, he's got no history in the Premier League, so I don't think there's any reason to put him any higher. But I think, obviously, his goal scoring record will speak for itself. So I'll just go through some of his stats that I pulled together just to highlight. So 109 league goals for Sporting and Coventry in 187 games. So this is league total. So I just wanted to point that out because, again, I've seen a lot of criticism thrown his way purely based on the level of goals that he scored in Portugal and obviously the standard of league. But again, had extremely positive goal scoring record for Coventry in the Championship, which is a very physical league, similar to the Premier League. So again, I think his physicality will be fine. Effective penalty taker. Again, I've seen a bit of shade thrown at him because I think about 35% of his goals last season were penalties.
Wasn't that a record, Paul?
Pardon?
Wasn't that a record? Within 19 penalties across the season.
Yeah, it was a crazy number of penalties that he took last year. But yeah, 34 of his last 38 penalties in his career he's scored. I guess the one thing, like I said, that I'd like to point out is that does that affect Saka on penalties? I think it probably does. I think if I'm Gyökeres, I'm going that's my ball really. So I think that might take away from Saka's strength as an asset and FPL.
Well, in Saka,
sure.
If he wants the ball, then Saka's the man to give it to him, right?
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
I think
he likes handing it out.
I think we discussed previous result that Arteta has going to leave the decision up to the players on the pitch as well, isn't it? So it's not going to be a predefined conversation. It's going to be down to who's feeling it at the time, which is a nightmare for FPL players in many
Yeah,
respects.
I just like that.
Yeah. Next point. Obviously, Arsenal are a little bit of a team that's shot shy. Let's be honest. We love to pass it around neatly around the box, but we tend to have to create a perfect opportunity to pull the trigger. Whereas this guy loves to sniff out a chance. 139 shots last season, which was similar to Salah. Salah's was 130 in the Premier League last year. And also, again, he overperformed his XG last year, even if you strip out penalties. So that's, I think, a good sign for his shooting accuracy. And then lastly, again, one of Arsenal's weaknesses have been against the low blocks, being ineffective in transition when we've had to counter-attack teams that are trying to low block against us. He's a channel runner, loves to go down that left-hand side, and he accumulated 32 assists last season. So I don't think that's, again, a bad thing to look at. Sorry, 32 assists over the 187 games across the two teams. My bad. And then lastly, he's currently got 21% ownership. So he's one of the most highly owned forwards as of now. So again, worth keeping an eye out for your FPL teams. But yeah, I guess the one thing to caveat that I think we've spoken about before, he hasn't had much preseason, had his first 15, 17 minutes, I think it was today, against Tottenham. So there is a small possibility that he may not start game week 1.
Awesome. I think this is a really positive signing for Arsenal overall as well. I think, I mean, we literally just said pre-recording, this really is a statement signing by Arsenal, and filling a position that has been much maligned over the years, even pre-Arteta. Really, I think it's always been commented that you've never really had that top class finisher. For as much as there's been effort to try and fill that spot, obviously, I think many Arsenal fans would have liked Gabriel Jesus to be that person. 3-4 seasons ago, and you've had countless number of European imports as well that performed well in France or performed well in Germany, and it hasn't quite clicked, but somehow Victor Gyökeres just feels a little bit different.
He feels like the guy that's just ready to step up. Obviously, he's not going to fully translate the numbers he got in Portugal into the Premier League. We're not blind to think that. But if he can get 20 Premier League goals this season, I would say that's a good haul.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you actually if you had a prediction on the number of goals that what would be a good season for Gyökeres, and I feel like actually 20 is probably a good marker to aim for any top striker in the Premier League, but especially for one that's coming into the league with such a esteem and high reputation as well. Scotty, any thoughts from yourself? I mean, obviously I'm a neutral in this, but you more so being a fan of an opposing club, potentially someone that Gyökeres is going to do some serious damage to next year.
Well, is this the part where I bring a bit of shade on it all?
Go on.
Well, I was looking at his earlier career because I wanted to know where this guy come from, because I watched a lot of the Championship games when he was at Coventry, and he looked very direct. He's a good runner, strong, very raw in that season. So I pulled up some of the numbers when he was at Coventry, and he scored 38 in 91 in the Championship. So that's 2 seasons, 38 goals, averaging out 19 a season, which is decent. Then I thought, well, if you were putting someone out of the Championship who'd scored 19 goals back-to-back seasons, what price would he be? And I thought maybe you'd get someone for maybe 35, 40 million top end. Because he's gone to the Portuguese league and absolutely torn it up. And the Championship, we'd probably all agree that is a better standard than that league. Just, I thought, well, the numbers are fantastic. You can't argue with the numbers. And if you watch his clips, like you said, he loves a shot. He loves ducking in on that right side and letting loose from every angle going. I just got a little little concerned that he's not quite the guy you want. I would have preferred you to have signed Sesko because I think his longevity. He's younger. I mean, Gyökeres he's 27. Sesko, I think, would fit your setup so much better. I think personally, but he's an exciting signing for sure because he's something you haven't had for so long. 9 million FPL is an interesting price point. He's the same as Ollie Watkins and 5 million less than Haaland. And on reputation, he could come in and score Haaland level goals if all goes to plan. For 5 million less, could be an absolute asset. My main talking point for you, Paul, would be the knock-on effect he has for the other Arsenal players. Saka, what happens to Havertz? Because Havertz is going nowhere. Arteta loves him. Can you see a world where Havertz and Gyökeres play in the same lineup?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Obviously, I think there's plenty of opportunity. I think that's what Arteta likes. He likes to have players that can play multiple positions. Obviously, Gyökeres doesn't, which I think is probably one real positive for him, is that he will be that leading number 9. Havertz will get plenty of minutes. I have no doubt in that. Whether that be up top, being the number 9 for certain games, or whether he drops back into the number 8 and Rice and Zubimendi, Norgard transition around at that number 6 role. Or like I say, one starts, one comes on to support when teams are tiring. Havertz is so good at that link up play. Him and Gyökeres could be pretty tasty when teams are tired and backs against the wall type matches.
So if they were to play together, where would Havertz play in relation, and who for?
Again, it's a hard one to really shout. Obviously, the obvious choice would be to be that a number 8. He'd go back into that number 8. But again, he could also be on the other side in that Odegaard role and be that more number 10. And then adversely, tactically, there's no reason why he couldn't play out wide and just come in more central. When we've got the ball, we just use the wing backs as the width, for example, down the left if needed. There's obviously plenty of tactical alterations. I'll leave that down to Arteta to choose. But yeah, to be honest, I think having Gyökeres is probably more beneficial for some of these guys. We could see more open play goals from Saka, for example, having Gyökeres in the team, because he is going to create space for these other players, because they're going to be occupied with dealing with him.
Uh-huh.
So I think it could have a positive spin, but also I do see that if he is doing a lot of the numbers, then there might not be enough goals to go around. But again, we'll see. I have similar, apprehensions as you. I guess with any new signing, when you're spending big money, especially when they're untested in this league, when we know how difficult it is to compete in this league, there are always going to be unknowns with whoever we'd have signed. So yeah, I think we'll just have to wait and see. As long as it doesn't take him too long to transition, because I'm not looking forward to seeing him getting trashed on TalkSport anytime soon.
Well, I think the comparisons are that Darwin Núñez come from Benfica with a similar scoring record, and hasn't really produced for Liverpool in the time he's been there. But on the flip side, Evan Nilsson came in last season from the Portuguese league, and I think he was a phenomenal asset last year, and will probably move on again this year. So it's not always a poor league, so you're going to struggle in a Premier League. He looks like a class act, and I think he'll do well. I can see the headlines being, after a few weeks, if he hasn't scored, he's already played 17 minutes and hasn't scored. So I mean, they're already typing up the headlines, aren't they?
I was going to say, don't you worry about TalkSport shoveling it on early. If he doesn't get at least a hat trick against Leeds, you can guarantee it'll be on the 24-hour rolling news.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But
it must be exciting being an Arsenal fan, Paul, with the window that you've had so far, and signings like this?
Yeah, I think I'd be way more excited if the other two big guys haven't had a similar window. We've all had probably a very strong window, and I think because it's so competitive at the top of the league, it's you look at it and go, we're going to have to really be almost perfect again to try and dethrone Liverpool and again compete with City. Yeah, it's exciting, but also a little bit daunting knowing that that Arteta needs to start coming good with some level of trophies.
Do you think this season is the season? If it doesn't happen, then you could be seeing him in trouble, Arteta?
Again, for me, context is always key. I think it's how if we don't win it, it'd be how we lose it.
Uh-huh.
I think again, if we go far in, ideally, I think you'd want to win something this season. I think from his perspective, if we don't win the Premier League, then you've got to make sure that you're at least close, like really tight, final day type business.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then the same with the Champions League, you want to make sure that you go pretty far in it to kind of, because again, you kind of want to have, as fans, we always want to have some level of progress. Everyone seems to say it's all about trophies nowadays, which, yeah, obviously I haven't seen many trophies in a long while, so
it's not entirely true, though, is it?
To grip onto, I think.
It's not entirely true. I just think it's where it becomes an expectation of a team like that, particularly of Arsenal's quality, and you look at the players in that team as well.
I think that's it. We have the level of team now to compete. So I think it's down to Arteta to make sure that happens. I don't think he's going to have any. He can't have any excuses realistically about having the right.
There'll be some red cards in there, mate, that he'll throw out at some point in the season, and
we'll see. VAR, as long as I can stay away from us for a little bit longer.
Let's move things on. I think we've spent enough time creaming over Arsenal's
let's get into the
new
real
signing.
meat and bones of the episode.
Let's shift things forward. I for one can't wait to see him play and see what he does. But as you say, time will tell. If you want to get Victor Gyökeres into your team, as well as some other premium assets, you are going to need some budget enablers, which is what this episode is mostly about. So we'll crack on and we'll get into some of those players that we've highlighted for you this week. We kick off with £5 million midfielders. We're willing to bet there's quite a few of you out there that probably have not considered most of these players, or if you have, you're thinking about them being just sat on the bench, and we're here to tell you that actually they might have a little bit more value to your team than you might think. We've highlighted three there. This is obviously off the back of all three of us got together. We put in three of our favourites that we wanted to highlight, and I believe then it was just a democratic vote as to who kind of made the top three out of that collection of 9 players. Although I think we probably did. There was a little bit of crossover, wasn't there? There was a couple of players there that we both had picked at the same time, and I do believe one of those was Ryan Christie, £5 million midfielder at Bournemouth. Current ownership 0.6%. The absolute definition of a differential player in my mind. Difficult opening fixture against Liverpool, but the next 5 games after that, based on Bournemouth's form last year, you would say probably give as good as they get in against Wolves, Spurs, Brighton, Newcastle, and Leeds. 14 defensive contributions per 90 minutes last season. He would have benefited from 26 additional points last year from 27 starts, and he is a guaranteed starter at Bournemouth. Scott, your initial thoughts on Ryan Christie and why we think that he's going to be a budget enabler, obviously at 5 million, but also bring value to people's teams.
Well, so all these budget guys are priced for a reason. So if you were to ask the question, who do you want in your midfield and why, you go for all the top guys, your Salahs and your Vertses and etc. And they're priced where they are for what they offer. That consistency, they're fixture proof. They're on set plays or whatever. So these budget guys are deficient in one or two areas that you want. It might be minutes. It might be they're not on set plays. It might be not particularly attacking. So all the three guys on the screen here are all have a deficiency somewhere. And I would say that Christie's is that he's not particularly attacking, but he's a lock, as Paul's got in a note. So he's a 90-minute man. I think is he the Bournemouth captain, Christie?
Possibly, I think so.
Yeah.
Possibly. Even if it's just standing, I can't
Yeah.
100% recall.
In a team that thrives. I mean, he's not a holding midfield player. I mean, Bournemouth have a lot of these hybrid players that can play multiple positions, and he is one of them that can get forward and offer a bit in attack. Popped up the odd goal, but his main attribute he brings is that he's a 90-minute man and will play every game. So those new DEFCON points at 5 million, you pick him, play him, sit him there, ignore him. Basically, he'll just tick along and roll those points up. As we pointed out before, that those defensive contribution points have got to be acquired over a longer period as opposed to shorter. And Christie would be your ideal £5 million guy to fit in and accrue those points.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Paul, did you have any additional thoughts? Obviously, I know that you were very good at putting together the little defensive contribution stats there as well. But did you have anything else to add?
Not really. I guess from my perspective, it's the Bournemouth fixtures. I think it's again, these guys you're looking at enabling you to spend higher budgets on those premium players that are going to get you the real points. 26 extra points he would have got this season from 27 starts is pretty great. And 14, he's only got to get 12. 14 per 90 he got. So he got that every single game basically when he starts.
So if he played 38 games, he'd have accrued 2 points every single match, yeah?
Yeah, and Cook is out, I believe, until October time. So Ryan Christie's got the run of that midfield at least until Cook comes back, and then he might get his minutes reduced. But yeah, for those opening fixtures, I think he's a nice pick if you again want someone to either ride your bench, maybe do a bench boost in those opening 6 game weeks, or just have a set and forget, really, which is probably what a lot of these guys would be, to enable you to pick those more premium players.
Do you think if you're picking one of these, you've got to have a formation of a 5-man midfield?
Yeah, I would probably suggest so. Because again, these are probably the cheapest midfielders you're going to get that are going to play decent minutes. All the 4.5s are probably not going to play any minutes at all.
No.
So I think if you want players I think that's the positive thing with all three of these. All three of these will be pretty much 90-minute guys, close to. Perhaps Saar might be a slight rotation risk, but the other two definitely will be guaranteed starters to start the season for sure.
Yep, fair enough. Fair shouts all around. Just to answer the question that came up around Christie being captain, he is not captain. The Bournemouth captain currently, according to Wikipedia, is Adam Smith, and has made 400 appearances for Bournemouth. So a steady hand. Moving on to our next highlighted £5 million midfielder, Carlos Baleba, 4.5% ownership. And I believe this is the third mention he's getting in 5 episodes from us. So I
this season's in Kunku.
Yeah, I feel like we can take credit for that 4.5% ownership because not many people, I imagine, would have had him in the squad otherwise. 13 defensive contributions per 90, so again hitting that 12 bar quite consistently. 30 defensive contribution points he would have scored last season from 31 starts. and is the leader on ball recoveries at this particular price point. This was one player that I had highlighted. I know Scott had highlighted as well. Mostly because of Scott's little inside information that he gave us a couple of episodes ago about Carlos Baleba potentially being the middle of a back three, which massively increases his opportunity for those DEFCON points. And being a midfielder, he is going to be needing at least 12 to get the 2 additional points, but also will be open and liable to those recovery bonuses as well, in which, to reiterate, a recovery is where the player tackles or recovers the ball and then makes a forward pass. Outside of passing it back to the keeper, there's nowhere else really for him to pass it to.
It's got to be a completed pass, right? Is that my understanding
Yes,
of
correct.
it?
Yes. A completed forward pass
Completed pass, yeah.
is a recovery. And as I say, unless he's turning around and passing it back to the keeper, there's nowhere else really that he can go.
Yeah, this isn't Arsenal of the 1990s.
So yes, an interesting pick, and I think positionally, it will be interesting to see if he does line up in the middle of that three, because his DEFCON points or his potential for DEFCON goes through the roof if it does. Any thoughts from either of you on Carlos Baleba?
I mentioned him last season purely on footballing terms, that he's an absolute gem of a footballer, beautiful to watch. Yeah. Left-footed, covers the grounds athletically, really quick, powerful, good pass on the ball. I mean, I think he's a fantastic footballer. Somewhat wasted in a position that he plays, because I'm sure he has the abilities to play further forward. Scored a couple of cracking goals last season as well from distance. He's my favourite 5 million player if you have that budget, purely because of he is such a talented player, and I think Hertzler is going to fit him into a system that will suit him in a sort of like quarterback role. I think I can see him playing for Brighton. I absolutely adore him as a footballer. Just wish those fixtures were a little better. Looking at those fixtures there's a couple of half decent ones, but yeah, if you were comparing his fixture, say, with SARS, I mean, there's only one winner there, so that could put people off.
Yeah, I guess to tag on to that, I guess that's the one thing to really call out is his main asset is going to be those defensive contributions. So having those harder fixtures might actually be an upside, because he's got more opportunity to get them. So he could, if he got, the 12 defensive contributions per game, that's a nice level of upside, especially if they manage to complete some clean sheets in there. So it could be a bonus for him. So
have you seen that stat? There was when this first was announced that this was going to be a new thing in FPL with the CBIT figures. Everyone jumped on the fact that if you play for a lesser side and you play on a bigger side, you would get more defensive recovery points and that. I think someone's produced a table which says that that's pretty much not the case.
Okay.
So I think it might have been Bournemouth. I've seen the list and actually got more points playing against the teams in and around them and slightly down lesser than the table. I think because you're on the front foot more, the ball sort of breaks down more, and then you can recycle it.
To recycle it.
Yeah. Whereas against the bigger sides, you're sort of penned back a bit, and the chances are reduced to recycle the ball. So, yeah. But I think the way Brighton play, they go sort of toe to toe with most teams, don't they? So it probably won't affect who they're playing in that regard.
Yeah, you're probably correct. Brighton are play pretty open no matter who they're playing.
Yeah,
I like because you're quite firmly in that camp, Paul, aren't you? In that you think that DEFCON points are going to come more easily in those more difficult games. I know that you mentioned previously with regards to having Arsenal defenders in the early part of the season, where those games against Liverpool, Newcastle, and Man City are and United are, but you feel like that the DEFCON points will be more like will come more easily in those games. And I guess
I guess
that
from
kind of
my perspective, I'm just not worried as much about rotating them out. Whereas in previous seasons, as soon as you saw a red fixture, you'd have benched them or ditched them immediately. Whereas with these DEFCON opportunities, I'm less inclined to worry as much and just back the player and the teams that they play for.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Okay, let's move on to selection number 3, because otherwise this episode is going to be about 2.5 hours long. Papsar, 5 million, 0.9% owned Spurs midfielder. Pretty decent set of opening fixtures with Burnley, West Ham, and Wolves in there. Last season, 13 shots and 7 big chances created, 115 ball recoveries, leading to 12 defensive contributions per 90 minutes. And as we just mentioned there, those opening 6 fixtures are reasonably kind for Spurs, or not if you take last season's form into account. It depends how you look at it. Obviously, highlighting there that the 13 shots and 7 big chances created. I don't know too much about Papsar's positioning. That feels like he plays a bit further up the field than, say, Christie and Baleba.
Nah, when you play for Ange Postecoglou, mate, you don't play in a position. You just do what the hell you want, because that's who we are. He's a box to box. He's not really a holder. He's not really he's number 8, I guess, isn't he, Paul? He's a more engine man. But again, he's a good footballer, similar to Baleba, I guess. He's a bit more of a footballer than Ryan Christie, I guess. The only thing that puts me off him is that those opening fixtures for Spurs, especially that opening fixture, if you're on a bench boost, you're probably looking at tripling up on Spurs assets that don't include players like Sarr at 5 mil. You're probably going a defensive player, Solanke, and maybe a Kudus. So Sarr's probably going to get wildly overlooked if you're bench boosting. But if you're not and you have 5 mil, he's probably a fair shout.
Yeah, one thing I would add on is he's been in Frank's side all through pre-season so far. Scored several goals as well.
He scored today.
Scored today. He scored 2 the other day.
Who was that against today?
Shut up.
Comical goal as well.
Unnecessary.
Comedy value.
Yeah, I think I quite like him from these 5 mil options. Again, I think I'm quietly confident that he will be a starter in Thomas Frank's side. I think if you've only got 5 mil, he's a good opportunity to get you a couple of goals. And as you can see, he gets the ball recoveries as well. So he does kind of contribute a bit more at both ends of the pitch compared to the other 2 that we've pointed out. But yeah, not that he's a regular goal scorer. I'm not.
Well, they've got options in there. They've got Basuma, and Basuma's a good player. They got Bentancur.
Mm-hmm.
They got a few. I think Gray will probably play in his natural position, which is like centre mid as well. They got some options there, haven't they? Bergvall.
For sure.
He might not be nailed come the start of the season. They do have similar type options. Maybe too many options, which is why maybe priced at 5.
Yeah, I think the ownership's probably reflective of that as well. 0.9%. Just probably shows that there are other more effective options in that Spurs midfield. So that shows quite a lot as well. Other mentions that we want to just add in for you to take a look at. We haven't got a detailed overview of them on this particular episode. Maybe we can go into them if this is a part of the episode that you're enjoying particularly. We got Lafi, Ugarte, Yarmouk, and Xhaka, who was brought in by Sunderland, another ex-Arsenal man that you'll know quite a bit about, Paul. And I think did reasonably well during his Premier League career last time out. See, a little bit older, a little bit wiser now.
Yeah,
Sorry,
the latter end of his Arsenal career was pretty
That's
solid. Again, Premier League proven. He's going to be a 90-minute man, you'd expect, for Sunderland. Defensive contributions. again, he
Red
does
cards.
he does he does like to get forward possible red cards. So yeah, there's an abundance of opportunities there, maybe for all sorts
Fair
of
enough.
positive and negatives.
Moving on up the budget structure to £5.5 million midfielders. Elliot Anderson from Forest, Tiani Reinders from City, and Moises Caicedo from Chelsea. And I think Reinders has beaten Igor Jesus as the worst picture for the slides
Mystery man.
going forward.
They
Mystery man,
haven't
isn't he?
added him to the FPL website.
No.
I've got a picture of him. I just my skills, I couldn't add him in. So for now, it'd be a blank.
Yeah, fair enough. Or maybe we should take the Igor Jesus route and just that's him now. That's him for the rest of the season. Elliot Anderson, again, someone else that we've spoken a little bit about over the last couple of episodes, particularly where DEFCON has been come into play this season. 15 defensive contributions per 90 last season, 8 goals and assists, which is not bad for a deeper lying midfielder. Absolutely a guaranteed starter. I really feel like this is one that got away where Newcastle United's academy is concerned for sure. 2.7% ownership, and I feel like when we shared that DEFCON graphic a couple of episodes ago, he benefited from the new scoring quite a bit. I think it was 40 additional points or something, wasn't it?
I think he was third on that list, but he would have been top if you took it per 90. He'd have been number 1 for last season.
Interesting. So definitely, something to consider, and particularly actually 8 goals and assists. Okay, it's not it's not golden boot or top assists numbers by any stretch, but that's not something that you would expect at 5.5 million.
But it's not game breaking, is it? He's not gonna break FPL. He's not this season's Cole Palmer, for example.
No,
but
he's my know of.
Well, there's time. He's only 23, I think. So maybe he hasn't shown any of that previously, but you never know. He's my favourite. So my problem with the 5 million players is that you got to stretch that extra 0.5 because the value that these guys offer, the increase in potential points for that 0.5 is massive. In Anderson, you get guaranteed minutes. You got lovely fixtures, barring that Arsenal one, where you just bench him for that, I would imagine. He's a 90-minute man. He offers attacking threat too, and he will be one of the biggest beneficiaries of this new scoring system. Forest being a pretty solid team. I mean, I don't know what you boys think about their potential for this season. I see a little drop off from what they achieved, but I think they'll be top half, pushing for those European places again, probably. I like some of the signings they've made, and keeping Gibbs White is a good move for them. Although, if you're an Anderson fan, if Gibbs White had have gone to Spurs, then he would have been probably pushed further forward and played in that 10 role. He's my number 1 best budget enabler of all the ones we're going to show today, Anderson. Although when I show my draft at the end, he's not in it.
The irony. Yeah, I think you've summed it up pretty well. I struggle to add anything extra to that. He's one of my favourite budget enabler picks as well. So I think Nottingham Forest will continue where they left off last season. They're going to be defensively solid, and the signings, hopefully they can be a bit more expressive going forward.
I think that's where he got a lot of his points last season, because they did sit in. So a lot of the points he accrued were through tackles and interceptions, because they are a counter-attacking side, aren't they, Forest? I don't know what price Hudson-Odoi comes in. Is he a 6?
He's a 6, yeah.
Yeah, if you look at his data, it's absolutely appalling, because they basically sit in and use him as an outlet. So he's not getting into those goal-scoring opportunities because he's used to carry the ball on the counter-attack. Someone like Anderson, the way Forest play suits him and these new scoring rules.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, so lots of positive praise there for Elliot Anderson. Let's hope he can repay that faith and isn't an Nkunku second coming.
No.
Tiani Reinders for Manchester City. Again, good set of opening fixtures. Again, barring the Arsenal game, albeit this is a team that would look to compete more effectively with Arsenal, of course, throughout the season. 14 goals and assists in Serie A last year. 26 ball carries, leading to a shot, which was sixth in all of Serie A as well. Has started 3 of the 4 Club World Cup fixtures. So this is by that I take that this is a player that City went out in that first transfer window and got the deal done quickly. Like, this is someone that they've had on their radar for a little while, and they took the opportunity to get him in before that summer tournament. I don't know too much about him. I know, Paul, that you watch Serie A quite a bit. I think you've actually been to San Siro and seen Inter Milan play a couple of times as well. So you'll probably be best positioned to tell us a little bit about this guy.
I really like Reinders. He reminds me of a younger Gundogan stylistically. He's good. He's not much of a tackler, but he's a physical presence, and I think that's what he's known for, being physical in the midfield, running with the ball, and then box crashing. 14 GA, I would take that with a pinch of salt. Although that was a fantastic season, that's the first time he's done it in his career. So I don't expect him to do those anywhere near those numbers for Man City. The 26 ball carries, I think that's pretty impressive considering the 5 other players. 4 of them were wingers and 1 of them was a striker. So he was the only central midfielder to be right up there. So I think that's a good positive thing for him to bring to the table for Man City. It's definitely something stylistically they have been missing. And yeah, the fact that he started quite a lot of the fixtures already in the Club World Cup, which is technically their pre-season, would suggest that Pep likes him. So yeah, you've got to be wary of Pep roulette, but I think he looks like a starter to me for game week 1.
Fair enough. Anything else to add there, Scotty?
Yeah, well, he's currently in my draft. Basically, it's a placeholder for that price point, but he's currently sitting there in that 5.5 spot. If he was a guaranteed starter, I guess if he played for any other team at 5.5, I think he would be probably the standout. So the negative for him is the fact he plays for City and that ever-changing revolving door of lineups. He's the Kovacic replacement, so he'll probably sit alongside Rodri, providing Rodri is firing. Rodri will mop up the recovery points, and Reinders will be that link between the midfield and the strikers, and we'll probably get quite a few goal contributions, I think. So where he might lack in that defensive area, he'll definitely link that play, and I can see him and Haaland and Marmoush linking up pretty sweetly in that midfield. So he might be good for attacking returns, but he's got to be on the pitch for that, and that's what you can't guarantee.
Yeah, it's always something. It's perennially something that we've combated with having City players in, isn't it?
Well, if you can get the right one, I mean that's the thing with City. If you can get that right one, then you're laughing because everybody else can be put off.
Yeah, that's very true. Moises Caicedo, last season, most ball recoveries with 229. Started every Premier League game and at favourable fixtures to start the season. Which, looking at those first 6, I would agree. 7.6% ownership. Again, probably suggests that people have picked up on him as a budget enabler and probably will start to appear in more teams as we get nearer to the first game that kicks off on August the 18th. But yeah, again, is this a DEFCON knock-on effect of these defensive contributions and bonus points being added into the game.
Well, he offers you nothing going forward, does he, Paul? He's not an attacking player at all.
Absolute zero. He's probably DEFCON points only, which I think is probably why I would prefer the other two over him. Although the fixtures are nice for Chelsea, I think you could probably get. I'd probably rather go 0.5 up and get Cucurella in defence, for example, than him, who would probably get similar DEFCON contributions and also have potential attacking threat. So, yeah, I can see why people are picking him. I understand that he was one of the leading guys for DEFCON points if they were to exist last season. So, but yeah, I do think the other two definitely offer a bit more attacking flavour outside of just ball recoveries.
Yep, fair enough. Other mentions there at that price point. Casemiro, again, probably very much like Caicedo as a DEFCON guy. Zubimendi, is that Idrissa guy? Is that the Everton? Is it?
Yeah.
No, yeah, Everton.
Another DEFCON.
And Sandro Tonali for Newcastle.
Yeah, he was one that I kind of wanted to just quickly pull out. So he got 6 GA last season. Newcastle got 11 clean sheets, and he got 11 DC points per 90. So he has, again, kind of a bit of everything. And again, he's almost a guaranteed starter. So I think he could possibly be up there with these other three if you wanted to look at an alternative. And Zubimendi, I put him in there, although he's a bit of an unknown of what he's going to do. He will certainly get those ball recoveries, probably more than Rice will this season, playing further back. And also he likes to pass forward. So again, tackles, interceptions, and he'll also get those ball recoveries and possibly the odd assist here and there. So he could be a nice enabler, but I think that would be a watch and see if I was offering advice.
Yeah. £1 million cheaper than Rice as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about Rice later, I'm sure.
Going on to the £6 million midfielders, we have Yuri Tielemans at Villa, Mikkel Damsgaard at Brentford, and Yankuba Minter at Brighton. 1.6, 1.3, and 0.8% ownership, respectively, which again puts all three of these firmly in the differential box. Villa, Brentford, some quite favourable fixtures to open the season with. Although, if you're on the same train of thought as us three with regards to Brentford, you might look at Forest as being a red fixture, or Villa being a red fixture, or Chelsea being a red fixture, and all of a sudden that opening set of games actually becomes quite difficult for Brentford. But let's dig into Yuri Tielemans. Last season, 10 goals and assists, 10 defensive contributions per 90, and he is the set-piece taker and guaranteed starter for Villa. That actually quite surprises me that his ownership currently is only 1.6, being the set-piece taker, and what he was able to achieve last year, 10 goals and assists. Again, it's not pulling up trees, but at £6 million, a really good budget enabler, and that ownership makes it even more tempting maybe to have him in your at least in your drafts, and just see what else you can do.
Potentially on penalties as well. I mean, he has taken penalties in the past. Has a good penalty record.
If Watkins is not on the pitch, I think he definitely will be the penalty taker.
Yeah, I think you see low ownerships for these guys because of the price point. I think the price point of the 5 mils is awkward, and I think the 6 mil equally, because if you can stretch to a 6.5, then again the value jumps a lot higher. Yeah, a lot more for your buck for that 0.5, and I think that's the problem. I think some of the 5.5s probably offer better value than these guys as well. But out of the three, I'd like to just highlight Damsgaard. I think Damsgaard is last season went under the radar. Visser and Mbeumo took all the limelight, But he ticked along without him in that side with his ball recoveries and his forward passing and that they wouldn't have been half the side they were. So unfortunately they've lost in Burma, looking like they're going to lose Visser as well. But Damsgaard, out of all these ones, would be my pick. He's very industrious, very good footballer, as we know, very cultured. A lot better in the tackle than his stature would tell you. He's very small, but yeah, so he'd be my pick. Who would you highlight out of those three, Paulie?
Damsgaard probably be the most reliable one, I guess. Again, his minutes will be almost guaranteed in that starting 11. And I think he has more attacking threat than the likes of Tillemans. Again, I would be a little bit wary with Minter's potential for rotation in that Brighton side. Hertzler is known for liking a bit of rotation from game to game, but his numbers are great. He's very attacking. 11 GA from 20 starts and 11 big chances created. That's nothing to complain about. But yeah, I would have a slight apprehension that his minutes might get managed throughout the season. For me, Brentford, it'd be interesting to see. They're always very good in the transfer market. So it's interesting to see who they will replace Mbeumo with, if they haven't already. I don't think I've seen anyone come in that's seen as the direct replacement from memory. And then again, if Visser leaves, who is going to be the guy? Is Thiago going to step in and be the main guy, or are they going to go out in the market and find someone else? Mm-hmm. So I think that might define how well Brentford will do. But again, we know they're a very well organised team. So I think he would be the one that I would look at out of the three. But again, I think they're all valuable picks in their own right. But again, I tend to agree with you that 6.5, you could probably get more bang for your buck for that 0.5 mil.
So Minte's last season, his minutes, 57 minutes average, which is terrible.
Yeah, he's renowned for getting subbed off.
Yeah.
20 starts out of the season. So yeah, that's the risk. But when he's on the pitch, I think that's the thing to take into consideration. When he's on the pitch, he does contribute.
Such a shithouse move as well, isn't it, to sub him at 57 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it's like Hertzer knows. Because if you cast your mind back to the start of last season, Minte was in my starting team for game week 1. I bigged him up all pre-season last year, and I'm not doing it again this year because he burnt me more than he Kunku. And he came good at the back end of the season last year and looked very good. So maybe he kicks on and underlines that 6 mil price packet that he's actually worth more. Because I think he was more expensive last season. I think he started at 6.5, so he's had a price drop.
Yes, had a price drop. Yeah. The transfer of Adingra to Sunderland as well might see him nail down more minutes.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah, we've highlighted that there. Okay. Other mentions: Jorginho Rutter, another Brighton midfielder at this price point. Rumours are that with João Pedro gone, that he may get either a starting or a rotation berth at number 9 between him and Welbeck. Which, if you've got a midfielder that's playing up top, you're getting all those bonuses for potential goals scored and bonus points and everything else. I personally highlighted Dango Ouattara as well from Bournemouth. I think I was the only one to say that one. I've been watching the summer series, been really impressed with his work in and around the box. I thought last season as well, his output was pretty decent.
The only thing I would say, Darren, for that one to be wary of is most of his output came when Evan Nilsson was injured and he was playing up front.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he'll be back out wide this season with Evan Nilsson coming back in. So I don't know whether he will be the same threat.
That's a fair point. Thank you very much for pointing out. But the summer series that I've watched so far, I think he's definitely in and around that 10 and 9 area. So you're probably right. Once Evan Nelson is back in that squad, that he does drift out wide a bit more. Dwight McNeil and Thomas Soucek are the other two to look at
Yeah.
at £6 million.
Did you want to highlight McNeil, Paul? Because pre-recording, you mentioned him, that you were quite sweet on him.
Yeah, I think he's going under the radar a little bit. He was injured a lot last season, but he averaged 5 points per start, and he got 12 GA from 15 starts. So
That's impressive.
he's very effective when he does play, but unfortunately he was laden with injuries last year. And for a team that doesn't score a lot of goals, to get 12 GA in 15 starts is pretty impressive. So I think he's going under the radar purely because he spent a lot of time out injured last season, and he didn't accumulate the level of points that he could have done if he'd have played the full season. So yeah, definitely someone to worth considering, especially with Everton's fixtures not being too bad.
Could I just get a real quick overview of where you feel Everton might be this year? Because I know you previously had Beto in your drafts as well. So are you starting to feel like maybe that with the return of Moyes and whatnot, that they are a bit more proficient at the top end of the pitch now?
Well, they certainly finished that second half of last season very solid, and they definitely were scoring a lot more goals than they were pre him. So I think he's definitely getting a tune out of them. And Beto and Njai were leading the way there. The only thing to consider with Beto is obviously they've just bought Barry from Villarreal, so whether he will be the starter is unknown as of yet, because Barry hasn't played much pre-season. So Beto may start the season possibly, but I have a feeling that Barry will then become the first choice at some point during the season.
All right, let's move things on. There we go. £6.5 million midfielders. This is the last of what we would consider the budget enablers. Beyond this, we're getting into the 7s, 8s, 9s, and the more kind of premium prices. Ismail Assar at Palace, Declan Rice, Arsenal, Iliman Ndiaye, who just got a mention there from Everton. 2%, 7.4%, and 11.6% ownership, respectively. Ismail Assar, 15 goals and assists last season for Palace.
What a boy!
What a boy indeed. Finished. Where did they finish, Scott? Was it the place that they?
Huh?
Yeah, they've got a mortgage. They got a mortgage on 12th place.
They pay up front for that. Yeah. But hold on. If you remember that cup run that we had,
Oh, the cup run was glorious.
2 goals in the semi-final, a hand in the winning goal in the final. Ismail Assar is the boy.
Yeah, he's a beautiful thing to watch, and I've really kind of wanted and hoped that he would get some, the Premier League career that he deserved after, seeing him even at Watford and seeing that the quality that he offered to that Watford side. That feels like a million years ago now. Watford in the Premier League, doesn't it?
I remember he ripped Liverpool apart in one game. You remember that game?
Yes.
Yeah.
When everyone was raving about him, and then he sort of went cold and went abroad for a bit. And when he first joined us last season, he was a little bit slow, but Glasner got him in that role. He sort of plays an inverted 10 off the right and allows Munoz to overlap, and really suits Sarr's game because it creates lots of space for him to run into, which is his main strength.
Yeah, exactly that. The only thing that would put me off maybe having Ismail Assar in early doors is that fixture list. My God, the FA and the Premier League have colluded a little bit there, haven't they? Chelsea, Forest, and Villa.
A phone call from UEFA at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Chelsea, Forest, Villa, and Liverpool in your opening 6 games. The only sunny point there is a back-to-back with Sunderland and West Ham, which.
Well, that's very sunny, isn't it? That's like one of those winter mornings where it's been raining for 6 hours and it breaks, and everything calms and everyone goes out for a walk. That's those 2 fixtures there. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and then it shits it down with Liverpool.
Yeah, true. And you left your umbrella at home because it's been so nice. Yeah.
15 goals and assists last season, 4.6 points per start, and he is a guaranteed starter in that Palace squad. So, quick maths. I mean, even just the 90-minute points and the starting points it puts him at well over 80 points per for this season. Taking into account things like DEFCON and bonus points and the likes. But yeah, 6.5 million, 2% ownership. Again, very much a differential. That I feel like is definitely a fixture list thing, though. That people have the low ownership is definitely a fixture list thing.
Well, what I say about all these players that we're highlighting is that everyone's going to have a Salah or a Haaland or a Wirtz or all the big hitters. So your teams become very similar. It's these budget enablers that differentiate your team. So they become highly important. If you get the right one that goes on a run and you're the first on that trend, then you get ahead of the curve and everyone else is playing catch up. So this price point in particular, 6.5, I think is where the difference is going to be made.
So many options. There's so many options. I think all the players that we've probably got on this list are well worth having a look at. For sure.
Well, we could have done a whole half hour on just this price point alone because it's you could have two in your team at this price point because there's so many options, and I think it's vital that you get this correct. Who that turns out to be, only time will tell. But I think it's a very big decision to make. As I pointed out, because most people are going to have all the other big hitters in the same team.
Yeah, agreed. Looking across the three that we have highlighted, though, Declan Rice, again, looking at that opening fixture list, and we have spoken at length about this already. United, Liverpool, Forest, City, Newcastle in that first six.
But there's a difference, right? If you're looking at a Palace fixture list, for example, and an Arsenal fixture list, there's a massive difference in what those colours mean. If you're Arsenal, you're going toe to toe with Liverpool. If you're Palace, you're not realistically.
No.
So you got to look into it and use your own intuition to tell you what's what.
It does surprise me with that in mind that Newcastle are a red fixture for Arsenal. I would have definitely had them as a grey.
Well, it's away. It's because it's away.
Fair.
Yeah, I like Rice as a pick. Obviously, he added goals to his game for us last season. He still gets those DEFCON points per 90. That may slow down with Zubamendi coming in the team. Guaranteed set piece taker. Again, I won't forget those Real Madrid free kicks till the day I die, probably. And I think, the key thing for me with Zubamendi coming in, I think it probably gives him more license to box crash, get forward, and hopefully add more goals.
And that's his game, isn't it? Really, he's not a holder. He is a box to box attacking midfielder. We haven't really seen that from him for a number of seasons.
So I think that's why he'll be a popular pick.
Yeah, 7.4% ownership. Again, with that fixture list in the first 6 weeks, probably suggests that people are looking at Rice as being a real viable option, even with difficult fixtures. 11 goals and assists last season. Again, from what we would consider traditionally a defensive midfielder and not an FPL asset previously. I don't feel like this is just a DEFCON knock-on for Rice. I really do feel like people have taken or paid attention to the transfers that Arsenal have made with Norgard and Zubamendi coming in, and they are starting to see that actually Rice will be playing a very different role this year. Being given that license to move further forward, and who wouldn't want a player that can score free kicks like that in their FPL squad, even just for those 1 or 2 weeks where he gets those absolute perlers right in the top corner.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we see a few of them in the first 6 game weeks.
Iliman Ndiaye, we just mentioned him on the earlier slide there, Paul, in terms of what Everton's options are with regards to the budget enablers, and also what Moyes has been able to do for Everton at the top end of the pitch. Again, I like the look of that opening fixture set. A newly promoted Leeds, an expansive and open Brighton, a struggling Wolves, Iliman Ndiaye, and more previously, as you mentioned, Dwight McNeil could profit quite nicely.
So I've made 4,000 drafts in the first 2 weeks, and one player has been in every single draft, and that is him. Ndiaye, I think he is the standout 6.5 for me. Plays as an attacking forward, I guess. He's on penalties. He's a talisman. He's Everton's best player. Everything goes through him. Be interesting to see when McNeil is back. McNeil probably will play in the 10, I would imagine, and Ndiaye running off him. And no disrespect to Everton, I think he's far better than them. He could play at a higher level. I think he's actually quality. And at 6.5, I mean, if I had to give any advice to anybody that's listening or watching, would be to have him in.
Yeah.
Watching Kunku Mark II incoming.
There you have it. That's an expert opinion from a player that finished inside the top 3,000 last year. This is a player, definitely a player to watch.
For sure. For me, the impressive thing is the 21 bonus points. He is a bonus points merchant. He swallows them up. So I don't see that changing this year. And also, I like the fact that he would have got defensive contribution 6 times from an attacking player. That's again pretty impressive.
That's what you get when you play for Moyes, right? He wants you to do that work backwards as well. Yeah, very impressive.
So again, I think he has a bit of everything from an FPL sense. So yeah, definitely well worth a think, and it's making me rethink my draft already.
We'll say it quietly, but I do believe that last season that I was quite high on Moyes coming back to Everton and changing their fortunes, and potentially introducing a little bit of total football to Everton with Ndiaye.
Football.
Jesus Christ.
Ndiaye picking up defensive contributions as well as bonus points and goals and assists.
Well, he's been reclassified as a midfielder this year. I think what put me off having him last season was he was as a striker, and there was just too many other options because you only get the three picks. As a midfielder, I think he for me he's an absolute shoo-in for first pick. I've had him in every single draft, and when you see my team at the end, he's there.
Excellent,
yeah.
Great success. Other mentions at 6.5, Mitoma, another Brighton midfielder, Fernandez, Murphy, and Kudus. Is that? I assume that's Enzo Fernandez, Chelsea, right?
Yeah, I think he's another one that I kind of wanted to just quickly call out. So under Maresca, he's been pushed further forward, which I think has seen his form immensely improve. 14 GA he got last season in the Premier League, which is impressive. And he is a set piece taker alongside Cole Palmer. So I think he's again another solid option. I would shout out Murphy. Obviously, his season last season was incredible with 21 goals and assists. But the only thing that puts me off him is obviously Elanga's arrival. Yeah. I don't know whether his minutes are going to get diminished because of him coming. So those are the two that I guess I wanted to call out as someone to keep an eye on.
And what about Kudus? Because I think if we had the stats for ownership, I think he would probably be one of the highest because I see him in virtually every single draft I've looked at. Yeah. I think it's because of the opening fixtures for Spurs and people looking for that that attacking link maybe with Solanke. What do you think the Kudus? Kudus to me always looks $1 million, but never produces an end product.
Yeah, I had him in my first draft. He's not in my second draft. I had my apprehensions about him as I said in the last pod. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm probably similar to you. Eye test, he looks fantastic, but end product is pretty poor. He has it in him. This season that he arrived, he got very, very good numbers for West Ham, and I think that's why people are picking him. No one's really nailed down those wide midfielder positions. Obviously, Kulusevski's injured. Does Kudus replace Brendan Johnson, for example, who was the main man for Tottenham last season in a poor season for them? So I think I think there's obviously excitement there with him being the new signing. The fixtures are nice. Is he going to be the main man on the wing for them? And I think that's probably where the ownership's coming. By all accounts, I didn't watch the game today because I was working, but by all accounts, he was very impressive against Arsenal today. So, yeah, I think he's worth considering for sure.
I guess out of all the players on this list, he's the one that has the highest ceiling, because on his day he could rip it up.
Sure.
He's that unpredictable, isn't he? So, but I guess if you pick him, you got to ride that.
You've got to know you've got to get some 2-pointers in there. I think that's right. Yeah. With him, with the others, it's a bit more consistency. Whereas him, he is probably going to get those 2-pointers, those 12s back to 2.
So would he be a consideration? You boys are on a bench boost game week 1. Kudos must be a consideration because of that, playing Burnley game week 1.
Yeah, for sure. Like I say, he was in my first draft. I've taken him out of my second, but there's no guarantee that I won't go back to him depending on how the rest of pre-season pans out. And I think I haven't made major overhauls to my team as of yet, which I think you guys have probably ripped your team up a little bit more than I have. So I've still got time to go back. I like to maybe weigh out pre-season a bit longer before I rip it up again.
Just the 5 changes for me, not draft number 9,000.
Hey, Scott.
Sorry.
Cool.
Listen, we want to give you a little bit more context to why we've picked these players out, and again, Scott's found a lovely bit of data floating around on the interwebs, which I guess just talk to us as these transition in, Scott. What is this data made up of, or how have we come to the conclusion of the prediction of points that these players are going to score? Where does it come from?
So this is a predictive model based on betting analytics and data. So it throws in a whole bunch of variants into a cauldron. You mix it up, and it spits it out into the tables that you see. They're all based on betting permutations and predictive outcomes. So if you do spread betting, if you ever follow spread betting data, it's very similar to that. And the guys that produce these things are data analysts by trade, and they use FPL as their vehicle to work through, I guess.
Excellent. Okay, cool. And I should just point out for the YouTube's community guidelines, we are not encouraging betting in any way, shape, or form. The word betting was used in the sentence, but we are not promoting gambling in any way. Thank you very much. Thank you for explaining where the data comes from, Scott. It is interesting. It's like looking at what the predictive model is giving us, and then also equally looking at the price points of those players. One that jumps out at me, because we just spent a little bit of time talking about him, Ismail Assar, 36 points predicted in the opening 8 game weeks, which is, it's a pretty decent return for 6.5 million.
Yeah, and the guy that produces these FPL map, give him a shout out, and his link will be in the description below as well. Also, Rob T FPL do excellent work, and want to take very little credit for producing things like this. It must take a long time to sift through it and that to produce these. And you can expand it or reduce it on game weeks to get different outcomes and different permutations of data. Ismail Assar, like I say, is someone that's going to be overlooked. I mean, these models are good if you want to get data heavy. I know a lot of people that we appeal to want to watch football and ignore the data. But as I've learned over the last couple of seasons, this data can really tell you a story if you watch football in conjunction with looking at the data as well. The two things go hand in hand. You can't really do one without the other, in my view. And who doesn't want to watch football? Because that's what we all are here to do. All right. So the data for me becomes secondary. I'll use it to back up something I'll see on a pitch, because that's where I think my knowledge is in players' positioning and tactics and and seeing things, and I'll see something and then come back to the data and go, well, did what I see back up in the numbers, as opposed to the other way around, where you look at the numbers and then maybe watch match of the day and see if they've edited it in or out. So it's interesting reading to a point if you want to get real deep and dirty with the numbers.
Yeah, definitely, and I think as well, like
I really enjoy it. I think the one element here stands out to me. Look at the likes of Tillemans, who's above Njai in this predicted table, and that's 4 points per game predicted pretty much across the board, which again obviously could be highlighted by potential DEFCON points. So I think it's going to show that it could make a real difference this season if you pick the right players from the price brackets to make the most of your budget and team.
The thing about football, the beautiful thing about football is its unpredictability. Yeah. So these models are great and they're probably hard to produce, but the beauty of football is that unpredictability. So if you were to pick a team from 1 to 5 on each table here, be interesting to see how those players would actually fare in an FPL team. See what you scored as opposed to your own intuition and what you saw, because as we always say, luck plays a massive part in this as well, not just data and number crunching.
Yeah, I think it's probably no surprise as well that the top 5 midfielders, so if you wanted that 5-man midfield of the highest scoring expected points, that they're all at that kind of premium price tag as well, which kind of makes it almost impossible to have all 5 of those players.
That makes sense as well, doesn't it? Because that's why, because FPL obviously looked at the data and they have data to follow, and that's why they've been priced accordingly.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. It's a very good point. I guess the one player to highlight in amongst that 5-man midfield, again, another Palace player we didn't mention because went above that 6.5 price mark, but Eze at 7.5 million expected points across the first 8 weeks of
as a Palace player, I'd say.
As a Palace
as
player,
an Arsenal player, I think he's less of an asset. And if he does sign for Arsenal, you will see me cry again. Ian Wright all over.
But averaging, more or less 5 points per game in those opening 8 fixtures for 7.5 million.
Yeah, but as you pointed out as well, that those fixtures are quite tough. But Eze is obviously our talisman, penalty taker. Everything goes through him. Maybe fixture proof.
Yep, fair enough. Listen, if you want to pause it and you want to crunch that data on your own, then please do go ahead. We're not going to dig into it too much on the record. Scott, just shout out the guys that put this data together again, and I will make sure that their links to their socials are in the description below.
Yeah, it's FPL Matt and Rob T FPL are the two main guys. I think Rob works for a company called FPL Analytics. Yeah, I'm hugely into their stuff. I read all their articles. It's proper nerdy gear. Too boring to go on about it. But if you boys want to hook me up afterwards, I'll bore you to tears telling you all about it.
Look forward to it.
Nice one, mate. And we are getting into the juicy stuff now. So we've highlighted some teams where we think that the players that you need to have in the opening 6 fixtures are going to come from. We've given you the fixtures. And then we will move into our second draft. I say second drafts. 9,000 and second draft.
It's only the second draft you've seen.
Yeah.
If you could see my camera roll on my phone.
I don't want to see your camera roll on your phone. Thank you very much.
It's a very sad state of affairs, I tell you.
That's what she said.
Every time.
So yeah, we're looking at Villa, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, Forest, and Spurs as being adjudged to having the best opening set of fixtures. Again, we've spoken about some players from these teams already, the likes of Tielemans, Caicedo, Reinders, Elliot Anderson, Papsar. I don't think there wasn't any Liverpool players in that budget selection, actually, was there?
There aren't any.
No. They're all premium. They're all premium goal and assist getters.
So a table like this is really for when you build a structure. So instead of picking individual players, you're looking at a structure, you're looking at teams, so you want to cover certain teams for these fixtures, not necessarily picking individuals to fit a team. That's how I always start building a draft from a blank. Is looking at the teams that have the best fixtures over a period of time. So on this screen, you have over 6 weeks. I'm looking more maybe 3 weeks, and then maybe using an early wild card or something this season as we got extra chips to burn. I find these sort of tables very handy when you're picking structure and price points before you start picking individual players.
Yeah, agreed. I think for me, I like to look at probably about 6 weeks worth of fixtures. This type of thing is perfect for my analytical brain, because I would just then go through and go, well, what assets would I have from these? I wouldn't even think about price points. I'd pick the assets that I like from each team and then figure out which ones I want most, and then fit your squad then around the teams that you definitively want from those fixtures.
Yeah, I think what I like about looking at fixtures, it's laid out in this way as well, is actually it allows me to look at the rotation of captain choices as well. And typically, it's not genial thinking by any stretch to say that to target the newly promoted teams with your captain, particularly on the attacking end as well. And what this does is just allows us to have that high level view and go, well, okay, let's make sure I captain Solanke on game week 1, and then I might switch over to João Pedro for game week 2. Although I get that West Ham are not a newly promoted side, but it's a green fixture for them. And then moving into looking at potentially Forest player for game week 3, and then just looking at that zigzag like pattern and going through and looking at who's potentially going to earn me the most points in the easiest possible fixture.
So as we got that graphic on the screen, what I've been thinking this week, which is why I'll explain up front my draft that you'll see in a bit, is that I'm seriously considering going without any Liverpool for the first 3 weeks, purely based on those fixtures, and then wildcarding them in from game week 4 when they play Burnley and Everton and Palace. And I think that might allow me, because the trouble I've had is trying to fit City and Liverpool players and Arsenal players into this, and it doesn't work. It's doing my head in. So I thought, well, let's look at the fixtures. And I pulled this graphic up, and I thought, well, there's a clear line there that you can get in Villa, Chelsea, City, Forest, Arsenal, Spurs, and ignore Liverpool until game week 4, and then wildcard them in. And I think that play, I like it. It's aggressive. It's strategic. Not many people are going to be doing it. Now that I've told everybody, everyone's going to be doing it, obviously, but but it means I've got budget to spend. So when you see my draft, it'll be self-explanatory what you're looking at if I go ahead with this idea.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's get into that then. Let's have a look at your.
Let's segue into that then smoothly.
Yeah. I like it.
Baby.
It's almost like you're a professional presenter, mate.
Paul's actually sped the slides up as well. There they go. Here they come.
So we've got Robert Sanchez in goal, Virgil van Dijk. That's thrown me massively because you've just said about not having any Liverpool.
It's a price point holder, the 6 mil defender, because I want two in there. Yeah.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
He'd probably be Cucurella.
Yeah. Completely threw me off my pace there. I was just like, Sanchez in goal, Virgil. I mean, there's a Liverpool player right there. What's going on? Virgil, Tarkowski, Gavardio as a back 3. Morgan Rogers, Cole Palmer, not Colton Palmer. Jesus, that's 35 years out of date.
Back in the day.
Bukayo Saka, Iliman Ndiaye, Dominic Solanke, Victor Gyökeres, and Ollie Watkins as the top 3. Kinski, De Kuyper, Reinders, and Esteve on the bench. No Mo, no Haaland. Spread the funds to see what is possible. Gyökeres in some doubt about game week 1 due to lack of preseason, but game week 2 versus Leeds with a Saka and Vic G. Is that his official?
Yeah,
is that his official?
No one can pronounce his surname, so
Vic G double up.
Vic G, yeah.
Have you ditched the freemium and you've gone heavy up top? Yeah, I think you've ditched the freemium, haven't you?
The 3 million's gone because it was budget crunching, wasn't it? So ignoring the players, it's all about price points for me. So Virgil has been Cucurella, he's been Gabriel, Saliba. I've put them all in on a rotation. I just want 2 premium 6 million defenders in there. Virgil probably won't make it if I set on that plan that I highlighted earlier. Tarkowski might not even make game week 1 as well. There's things I've read that he's had a hamstring surgery, so he may not be fit. Sanchez has been in every draft. He's a nail. In Diet is a nail. And I like that front 3 in terms of price points. I think Solanke is the standout 7.5 for that Burnley fixture. Watkins is being highly underrated. Villa have some great opening fixtures, and him and that Rodgers combo worked so well last season. I can't see it not working this season. Palmer, I think, has been in most. And then you got the Saka, Vic G, double up in attack, because Arsenal have 2 nice opening fixtures before it gets a bit dirty, which is when I kick them out in my wildcard and replace them with Mo and someone else.
Fair enough.
Nice.
Thank you for taking us through that. Paolo, have you got any immediate thoughts on that draft?
It's a very attacking team.
Yes.
Yeah, I have no complaints. He's got Reinders in there. That midfield is pretty incredible, to be honest. The level of teams that you've got in there, and players wise, it covers, I guess, all eventualities from a fixture swing. Front 3 again, all starting strikers as of now, unless Watkins gets his move away from Villa.
Yeah, the whole thing is destroyed. If he joins United, then I can't be having a 9 million United centre forward. I can't be having it. So yeah, I'll have to rip it up and start again.
Is that the latest rumor then? Is it? Because I know that they almost had a street party this afternoon when Sesko was linked.
Watkins has been linked for a while with United. I get the feeling that Emery doesn't really fancy him. I mean, he dropped in for a certain bit last season and played Rashford and Thuram when he was there. For whatever reason, Watkins seems to be on the edges, maybe of leaving. But if he is to stay, he's got to be in that, because Villa have some lovely fixtures.
Yeah, and obviously benefits massively from the fact that Thuram and Rashford aren't there. And to my knowledge, Villa haven't bought anyone in that could challenge Watkins for position. So, okay, cool. Thanks, Scott. We look forward to iteration 10,000 next week. But yeah, I mean, it might just be me, but I am starting to see a lot more Salah and Haaland less drafts.
Well, look, it's a massive risk, isn't it?
It is.
On that previous slide of predicted points, Salah was top by a mile. And if we had the slide for striker data, Haaland is top by a mile for that opening 6 games. So it's a huge risk. Captaincy becomes a problem, because obviously you have these players in your team to captain because of their reliability. But I just fancy that Arsenal double up for the Leeds game in game week 2 is the one I think people will overlook. And that's where, if I lose any points in game week 1, that's where I'll gain them in that fixture.
Yeah, fair enough. I think as well, you might be giving yourself a little bit of a captaincy headache by not having them in there, because without the sure thing, it's now a case of, okay, Solanke versus Burnley might be the obvious shout, but then you've got Njai versus Leeds. You've got, I mean, even to a point, Saka versus United, Palmer versus Palace.
Well, that's it. You have those top line premium Salah and Haaland for that captaincy assurance.
Takes the
You've got the other 2 premium midfielders, so that gives you plenty of options. You've got the 2 9 million strikers, the only other 2 that are higher than, and there are only other 2 strikers that are higher than him. So you kind of have a certain level of premium nature in there without having the 2 biggest ones. So I think you're covered from a captaincy perspective for sure.
Yeah,
you can have Watkins and Vic G in there for 18 mil. you can have Haaland at 14 and nobody else because there isn't a 4 million striker.
Oh, that's not true. Paul highlighted earlier 4.5 million
4.5.
starting striker, but I get your point.
Yeah, but it's 4 mil, Darren, and the math doesn't work.
Oh yeah, you're right. Actually, the math ain't mathing, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can go back to our draft episode all the way back at the beginning of last season, and I was very, I was one way or another. I was anti Salah, I was anti Haaland, I was anti having both of them in because the budget drainage and the risk that one or both blank in the same week is catastrophic. So actually, it's quite nice to see the antithesis of that now and seeing a lot more
But
drafts where
in
both
the
of them
weeks-
aren't there.
The flip side is it's always a flip side. The flip side that the weeks they go absolutely nuclear, you haven't got them, then you're playing catch up.
You're just hoping that Palmer and Saka and Gyökeres and Watkins as a combination are doing the same, if not more.
But I think what you look at is that Salah's one player.
Yeah.
If you look at maybe 5 others to all operate in the same week is a huge risk.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true as well. Paul, your draft: Kelleher in goal, Van der Ven, Milenkovic, Gabriel, Wan-Bissaka at the back, Salah, Palmer, Reinders, Rice as a 4-man midfield, Gyökeres and Wood up top, Petrovic, Evan-Nilsson, De Kuyper and Anderson on your bench. Bench boost is active for game week 1.
Are you sticking with that, Paul?
Currently, I am because I'm so indecisive when to use it. I kind of just want to get it done. I know, like as we've spoken before in probably endless conversations, no amount of planning really can decide what your bench boost is going to be. So I think just pull the band-aid off now.
And that is quite a strong bench, I guess, isn't it? Although you got Evan-Nilsson and Petrovic playing Liverpool.
Yeah. I can keep it for later. Again, I've planned for the first probably 6 game weeks with this squad. I replaced Watkins with Gyökeres, mainly because I'm excited to see what he can do. As we said, there's a little bit of apprehension whether he'll start game week 1, but again, even if he doesn't, I'll keep him in. So that may change whether I keep bench boost if I don't think he's going to start. As I said, I'm convinced with Kudos, and I think Reinders is a nice downgrade in price point. And then again, upgrading Beto to Evan-Nilsson. Obviously, the minutes risk, I think, for Beto was why Evan-Nilsson guaranteed start. And then after that Liverpool game, their fixtures are pretty nice. Gabriel, I think I might have to swap him for another 6 because although he's my favourite, he hasn't played much pre-season. So again, he may not start the season from game week 1 in the starting lineup.
Would you not just bench him if you wanted to keep him? Just bench him.
Possibly.
Go like for like with Saliba, no?
That was one of the thought processes. I go like for like with another Arsenal defender, and I keep it in the family.
Have you seen the DEFCON points for Arsenal, especially Gabriel? I think he picked up 4 last season.
Yeah, it's fairly minimal for us. Obviously, I'm not picking Gabriel for the DEFCON points. It's the attacking contributions and the potential clean sheets.
Yeah,
because again, I still think we'll still have the best defence in the league. We'll be up there at least this year. And like I said, there is an opportunity for him to get defensive contributions with the tougher fixtures because we will have to defend in some of those games for sure. So that's my first thoughts. I'm fairly stuck on a few of them. Again, it's nice to get food for thought on Salah, but again, there's not many guarantees you can have in FPL, and he's probably one of them with regards to...
Well, yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? I think he's as much as a sure thing as possible. What I will say is, I know that obviously you got Kelleher and Petrovic there in terms of when you look at their fixtures, they line up quite nicely in terms of when one is red, the other is green, and you've got a nice rotation there throughout that first period of fixtures. The only thing I might suggest is with bench boost active, is it not worth taking a 1 week punt and taking Petrovic out and having another starting green fixtured goalkeeper?
Yeah, possibly. Again, I just don't I don't like to tinker too early. I like to give my team chance to breathe and see whether my decisions are true naturally, because I think it takes a good couple of weeks for you really for the season to get into full flow, for you to see the cream come to the top. So yeah, I'm much more of an analysis type person rather than Scott, who's very much likes to attack the points and go after them. I kind of like to sit back and plan ahead analytically with my moves by watching how we're going to do. So again, I trust my decisions. Whatever team I pick, I trust them. I've planned for the first six game weeks, so that's what I'm going with, unless there's injuries, suspensions, or otherwise.
Yeah, it's gonna work out for you in the longer term rather than the short term.
All I'll say about that midfield, you've got obviously Mo as the most expensive and Palmer as the second most. Then a massive gap in terms of price points down to Rice, and you've got 2 5.5s, nothing in between. So if Wirtz was to kick off or Marmouche, you're looking at dropping Palmer for one move, or you're looking at 2 transfers to upgrade one of your others.
Yeah. Like I said, I certainly could go lower on the strikers, for example, maybe potentially, and have some money in the bank, or like you say, move up the midfield scale. I think there's definitely options that I'm thinking about for sure. It's definitely something to consider.
Fair enough. Well, yep. Let's see where you're at come deadline day at Fest on the 18th of August.
10 pints down and tinkering, I reckon.
Yeah, 6:25. Fucking servers down. Damn it. Finally, my own personal draft. This has been an absolute nightmare for me, if I'm perfectly honest. I keep bringing players in and putting them, taking them out again. And as I say, I think I've resulted in a second draft of 5 changes from the previous week. So I've got Matt Sells in goal, a back 4 of Virgil van Dijk, Joska Gvardiol, Kukurea, and De Kuyper, a midfield 4 of Wirtz, Palmer, Saka, and Baleba, and a top 2 of Solanke and Gyökeres. Bench boost is also active for myself with Kinksky, Konsa, Anderson, and João Pedro up top for Chelsea. I am open to criticisms and changes and everything else, but just to highlight, I think Saka and Gyökeres as a double up to cover what I feel like will be. I mean, maybe I was a bit over ambitious in the message that I sent to you, Paul, but I feel like maybe sort of as much as 70% of Arsenal's attacking returns will come via those 2 players, whether it be the goal or the assist or penalties, Saka on corners. It feels like as a double up that feels pretty strong to me.
Yeah.
Wirtz is covering off my Liverpool returns. I'm hoping that he actually benefits from Salah on the other side. Palmer obviously there. Scott, you mentioned having Kukurea in. Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. I think back end of last season he was really, really strong. And what were the other changes that I've made there from last season? From the last draft, I think Kinksky. Again, we mentioned in the previous episode that Kinksky maybe murmurs
maybe
of a starting.
There's an update on that.
Okay, go on.
He looks like he's going to be loaned out
to a Premier League club.
Don't know.
Damn it.
Don't know. Yeah, so all the talk last week was that Thomas Frank really liked him, and there was loads of rumours circulating that he was going to be the first choice. This week, it's he loves him, but he's going to loan him out.
So
Yes, from not
Trafford,
much. He wants to get
Yeah.
game time.
Trafford's gone to City. So Burnley are looking. Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, something must be in the pipeline already. I imagine he goes abroad.
God damn it, that's not good, is it?
So we're going to start the season with no £4 million starting goalkeepers. So if you want rotation or you're on a bench boost, you've got to go with a 4.5 on the bench minimum.
Well, I've got some good news. I purposely kept 0.5 in the bank for this exact reason, because I didn't want to find myself in a position where I was taking Kinski out and having to have a £4 million non-starter, particularly with bench boost in mind. So I'll have to take a look at again at those 4.5 options and just see and weigh up and see what happens. Again, I think it might just be a case of 5 o'clock comes around at Fest and I'll do it. But for now, I'm going to keep Kinski in there. But any other notes to make across any of those other selections on my team before we round off?
Well, again, you got no Salah, no Haaland.
Yep.
3 premium defenders.
Supreme defenders, a lot of money at the back there. You've gone two centre halves and two fullbacks, which is nice. Is that Konza on the bench?
Cons are on the bench, yeah.
Konza on the bench. I mean, it's well balanced. I saw a data analysis on Verts recently, and it was to highlight or discredit his 8.5 price tag, because I think when it came in, people thought he was underpriced. And this model that I saw, Lumber Crunching, that basically proves that the 8.5 is quite a cheap. They reckon he's going to overperform that price tag. So that's made me think maybe that Liverpool Liverpool sort of thing I had going on is a load of crap, and I need to rip it up and start playing the game properly.
Maybe not for the first 3 games. Maybe not for the first three games.
Maybe not. But yeah, I think over the 38 games, he's going to make a mockery of that 8.5. So a good shout. I've seen lots of teams with him and Salah doubled up in a similar way. You've gone Saka and Gyökeres double up. I think they're going to hit it off pretty well, those two.
Excellent. I like the sound of that, and I think this is probably. I mean, we've been playing FPL together for a very long time. We've been doing the podcast now for the last 5 seasons. I think that might be the first draft I've shown you, Scotty, where you haven't laughed out loud the first time that you've seen it.
I'll talk to you afterwards.
Well done, Darren.
That feels like a teacher's note, doesn't it? See me after class.
See me afterwards. Yeah.
Disappointment again.
Well, if you were transparent and honest, Darren, we had a conversation. I think it may have been yesterday or the day before, where half of these picks are my suggestions.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Mm.
I don't know about that. I feel like you gave me a gentle nudge and said that player's probably not great, and then I went off and did a little bit. Yeah, went and did it. But yeah, look, there's a lot of benefits to having a player in the top 0.3% in the world on speed dial, right?
Well, I'm in the 1% league this year.
Are you?
It's a new thing that FPL have introduced, and I see my name in there. I was like, "Whoa, come on!"
Well done.
Hey,
Me and FPL mate and Andy, let's talk. Let's bring it on.
Fair play to you.
woo.
Well done, buddy.
Yeah, honestly, mate, last season was an absolute blinder for you. So yeah, congrats. You deserve to be there.
Total fluke, mind you, but I won't tell anyone.
Okay, all right. I think we'll wrap up the episode there. It's a long one for you this week, but lots of value, I would say. And listen, like, we're not expecting everybody to watch the episode all in one solid chunk unless you choose to do so. But if you have made it this far, please do drop a like. Subscribe to the channel, get the bell on for the next episode. We are attempting to have everything out every Monday at 7 p.m. There might be a few little shorts and a little smaller episodes that might dot out throughout the week, but for the big chunk of what we've got going on, it will be Mondays at 7 throughout the season. So please do come and join us on this journey, and hopefully we will increase your average across the season.
That's the plan.
And yeah, Yeah, that's the plan, right? But there is a link in the description below to come and join our FPL mini league. See if you can come and beat Mr. 1% himself and give it a go. Maybe even you might end up in the 1% league next season too. But until next week, we will bid you goodbye and see you later. Catch you next week, boys.